Hello, everybody. It is your Professor Rocco, your boy, coming at you again with another Age of Sigmar video. In this Age of Sigmar general class, we're going to talk about how to make better lists, just like the title says, how to make better lists in 3rd edition with Battalions. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, wonderful students of ours. We've got another slideshow, and we're coming at you hot. First slide, the one drop list. When would you take it? Well, first off, a one drop list in theory is you use the battalion, the battle regiment. That involves taking heroes and units, and even maybe a monster, a behemoth, an artillery piece, and it's just one drop, done. Now, the pros of the one drop list are if you're an Alpha Strike army, and you need to take that first turn to be aggressive. And the thing is, with the one drop, you literally have to drop and deploy everything all at once. So some of the dangers of it are your opponent sees your deployment, but there's all these pluses of, again, you're that aggressive Alpha Strike army, you need first turn to hit them. Or you're a more defensive army and you need to put your buffs up before your opponent gets to you. Now I'm thinking even like some like Nurgle, where it's they need to put up the Harbinger of Decay buff, or if you're doing something crazy like even like old Daughters of Cain with trying to get their sippy cup on everybody to be battle shock immune. If you're relying on your prayers or your spells as an army and you need to get them up to win, this is your time. If you need to make sure your opponent goes first because your list cannot take an Alpha Strike punch. So you're like, I'm one drop, cool, great. Because how Age of Sigmar works, whether it's 2nd or 3rd edition, if you finish dropping in matched play, which is fully deployed before your opponent, you get to decide who goes first. And if you're like, listen, my game plan is I need to go second. I need to get those extra command points for going second. I need to make sure I have enough spacing and time. My opponent needs to come closer to me because I'm a melee army or I'm a shooting army playing for the double turn. Whatever your reasoning is, you need to go second. A one drop list could be for you. Also, if you don't need an extra artifact, because battalions don't natively give you an artifact for your army and a command point like in 2nd edition. So, and yes, I know artifact is spelled funny. That's how they spell it in Age of Sigmar. That I swear I mostly know how to spell in English. Here's an example, though, not of me spelling, but of a one-drop tech list. With the great nation being Zytrek, these lists that I've generated are on War Scroll Builder. If you, I'll put a link in the description below. That is what I use to create all my lists from 2nd and into 3rd edition. It allows me to, and it looks nice and look a lot better than Battle Scribe. Oh my goodness. We've got our allegiances, Lumineth Realm Lords, the great nation there of Zytrek. The grand strategy is prize sorcery, meaning I need to keep one of my wizards alive. And being Lumineth Realm Lords, I'd have a lot of wizards. Actually, every unit in this army has a wizard in it, so I'm more likely to get that off. Also, a lot of the ones that are just straight up, hey, your general needs to live, generally rely on your opponent's general dying. And that's not always going to be feasible. Like in this, if you're running up against this, it is very easy to kill that Lord Regent, which is why I need to rely on the prize sorcery thing. But it's not always going to be easy when, say, your opponent rolls up with an Archeon. But focusing on this, we're a one drop here. Everything's in the battle regiment. What I'm trying to do with this list is stack pluses to cast from Zytrek and Techless. So I'm always casting on a +2 for my first spell attempt there, outside of Techless doing his own thing, where I can, pop a spell portal out, do my mortal wounds with Techless, set up all of my sentinels to just rain down on my opponents. And I'm looking for my wardens. They're on screening duty. My Dawn Riders are fast objective grabbers. Maybe later in the game, I'm looking for them to do something. I've got the Lord Regent there to cast his main spell off his War Scroll to give D3 units the ability to do the Mortal Wounds on a 5 instead of a 6. so that my units could try to cast maybe other spells. I've got redundancy here throughout my list. I even have a chance at a triumph at 1995 for points. And I've got my one endless spell again to either shoot wounds out. Maybe that's where I'm getting the lambent light through. I've got options. But the most important option is going first, so Teclis can try to get off the 5-up ward save spell that's on his war scroll, and we just go from there. So then my very elite army, which isn't really that elite considering I'm bringing what 67 models. That's still kind of elite. It's not Gargants, but for elves, they're all mostly 1/1 models except the heroes and the calves, so it's a little dicey. But I need to be able to make sure I can put as much damage out as possible from my spells and shooting, and then be as durable as possible to get my buffs up. So this is my 1-drop for that. Next, we've got this is common, the 5-drop list. This is a battle regiment with a warlord battalion. But look, why? Why would you ever do this? When would you take this? This is your faction here needs an extra artifact to make your list work. And again, this is, as I said, a lot of the times we're going to take sub factions, as I've said in previous videos ad nauseum here, where the bonuses you get are amazing, but generally they stick you with a bad artifact to be like, yeah, hey, here you go. You can reroll ones to save in the hero phase. Great. That never applies to anything. We need a real artifact to make our army work, so this is where we're going with that. And you don't necessarily need to go first turn because you've built in to your list screens or units that you don't mind dying for the rest of your army to be successful. And if you get first turn, great, but it's not needed. And then this is the other bit here. You don't care that someone brought a 1-drop army because they don't exist by you. And if they do exist, you've already game planned for it. Now, I'm going to go in as an example here. So this is a Stormcast list. Well, the current book is out. This is still legal. And this is some of the things that I've been playing and messing around with here. With this, I'm Celestial Vindicators. Grand strategy, hold the line. I need my battle line to live. I Triumph is inspired for +1 to wound. That's great. I got a Griff Charger with a Lord Arcanum on top for my general and the Battle Regiment. I've got the artifact I have to take, the Storm Rage Blade. I'm going down the list here in Cantor. Then I've got a Lord Castellant with the Lantern of the Tempest. So currently in my Stormcast book, and look for artifacts like this in the future, what the Lantern of the Tempest does, it gives me a wholly within 12-inch aura from my hero that when units of mine that are wholly within that aura are targeted by units that shoot, they have to reroll 6s to hit. So if we go previously to that Lumineth Realm Lord's craziness, or even, say, Daughters of Cain Bow Snakes, their bread and butter is 6s to hit, do mortal wounds. If you look at Salamanders in Seraphon, if you look at someone running a big blob of skinks that normally hit on 5s, to deny the output that is 6s to hit and make them reroll that. It's why Archeon is so tanky, and Stormcast actually get it as an artifact. And this Warlord Battalion would, I don't care if my opponent goes first as a 5-drop, I, from one artifact, am able to mess up their whole plan. And I'm bringing heroes that I would have brought anyway, and a Knight Heralder to pick one of my units, probably the Drac Alliance, to run in charge or retreat in charge. I've got the Knight Azeros that currently, as it stands, gives me reroll 1s to hit, which is very rare in the game right now. As, again, just an aura. It's all stuff I was taking. The Vindictors are the new spears that are just awesome. The Sequitors are fantastic for what they do. With their new ward save, the reason they have 3 Great Maces is currently in the book. The regular guys can get 2, and then the leader of the unit gets a Great Mace for free if you so choose. So that's how we get around that. Prosecutors, they're making a stand here because they are I'm going to turn off someone's Unleash Hell tech. Like, Rocco, what do you mean? Well, in general, you can only issue a command once to a unit that can only receive it once, right? And it costs a command point. So if I have these prosecutors charge a unit of the archers of the Lumineth Realm Lords, let's say, I can make them either shoot me or they wait and hopefully I don't charge within range of the other archers, within 9 inches for them to unleash hell. Because the sequitors can tank stuff, sure, but those prosecutors have a 3d6 charge. So when they're coming in from reserves for me, which Stormcast, I just 9 inches away from wherever they land, 9 inches away from enemies, they are probably making their charge. And it allows me to be like, oh, cool, you were protecting Techless. You had a few wounds left. I had to finish them off in combat. And boom, I charged in prosecutors to prevent you from unleashing 19 shots. Some people are even bringing 30-man units of the Sentinels. And then all of a sudden, that is just wasted on them. And then the rest of my stuff is, again, in the battle regiment. My extra enhancement I get from the Warlord, along with free command point to use it by choosing, mind you, is an artifact, which is what makes all this work. All right, this is my third style of list here, the how many drops are you list. So when would you take this? Total Chad move. You have that energy just exuding from you. Like, yeah, man, you won't see this coming. They won't see that. I don't even know why this is coming, but here we are. Total Chad move here. Uh, and you never wanted to go first anyway. You know, you like and see all the different options in the battalions that have been presented from the core battalions and the general handbook battalions. And you're like, yeah, there's this secret tech here that no one's looking at because everybody's too busy doing the one drop with the warlord thing. Listen, guys, we got this. And you're also playing a lot of small minimum size units or multiple sized units. The acronym is just MSU. Everyone's going to say it means something different, but you're playing a lot of small units in your army, and you can get away with this because you need so many different units to fill out all these different battalions. And I wanted to show off a Stormcast list I love, but I don't know if it's going to live through the 3.0 book with potential points changes that we've heard rumors about. So I just wanted to show this off that it's cool and it works. And here we go. Yeah, that's a lot of text I had to fit on here. The 11 drop wonder, though. So we are still Celestial Vindicators. So let me even say what that is. That's when I charge, I get rerolling ones to hit in melee. And the grand strategy for 3 bonus points at the end of the battle is hold the line when my battle line has to survive. And I'm inspired for +1 to wound. All right, follow me, camera guy. Currently, I need the Lord Arcanum and Griff Charger to be my general to make Sequitur's battle line. Sequiturs in combat have a potential for a 5-up ward save or rerolling hits, so they can be tanky when I need them to be, which is just fantastic. And again, the extra great maces for the extra damage. The Lord Castellan is here again for the Lantern, but also the Castellan gives out a buff where I pick one of my units to give them +1 to save, and every 6 they roll to save heals them for a wound. So I can pair that up on the Vindictors, who are a 3-up base, to make them a 2-up base, and then if they run into Ren, I'm like, cool, I'm gonna all out defense them, stay at a 2-up, and keep my buff. You know, fantastic. The Knight Encanter is there for an auto unbind to stop something like a spell portal, at least for a turn, to buy me time for the rest of my stuff to work. And I've got different spells for mortal wounds. The Ordinator is in the Grand Battery Battalion. So what that does, that him with the mine is his name is Lord Volcanus, and he's hanging out with the 2 ballistas. What does that does? What that does for me, I'm stuttering here because I'm so excited. The Ordinator gives out an aura of +1 to hit for friendly artillery currently, right? Great. If I run into a person giving me a -1 to hit, it gives me the option of a free all-out attack on them, and it doesn't count as being spent or issued. It does count as being received, however. So what does that mean? It means that because it doesn't count as being issued, I can issue it again to a different unit. Not the same ballista, though, because it counts as them having received the order. And it doesn't cost me a command point, so I don't spend the resource for it. Alternately, it also gives me an Unleash Hell. So realistically, there's going to be times where I'm going to be able to Unleash Hell both ballistas and really play the slot machine, because currently they hit on 5 space, it's 4 attacks at short range that do D6 hits. With the Ordinator, again, that makes it be the 4-up, and it gets a little bit better, but I'm playing the odds here, and they're really more fire support. My main hammers in this list, my main offensive units are the Vindictors, who, because I'm Celestial Vindicators, I can spend a command point on them to give them extra attacks, and I can throw on the +1 to wound there to be really devastating in combat. Also, the Evocators on Dracolions are there, and you'll see them with a unit of Sequitors are in the Hunters of the Heartlands Battalion. So what is that? That currently is the units that are in there don't get affected by the different monstrous actions at the end of the charge phase. I'm gonna forget the proper name because I'm recording, of course. But they can't be roared. They can't be stomped. And you'll see people taking this in armies that are really susceptible to mortal wounds, like say Adnef Deepkin. You throw the unrendable defensive fields they have in this, and then a big source of mortal wounds against them. That would be the tool to deal with them, goes away. I could see more Tech Guard taking this kind of a thing. But I really want to stop people from roaring at me, so I can issue commands to them, again, for the extra attacks, for a +1 to hit or +1 to save, but I need to save my own bacon here. And then I've got a battle regiment, because I think going 15 or 16 drops, whatever it would be, is a little ridiculous. And if somehow someone does this and they're over 11 drops, I have a chance. Will I really? No, I really won't have a chance. But I don't have anything else that I'm doing, and it allows me to play the mind game of when you drop a battle regiment, you have to drop the units in there all at once. So if I'm looking to, say, psych out where I'm going to put a power pairing of the Lord Arcanum with the Dracolions, because the Arcanum can spend a command point to make them auto-pass their spell of rerolling wounds, it's going on themselves, so they go off and murk people. This is where I would do that, and I'm playing that mind game in my deployment. So I don't care where they go. And if they're a 1-drop, guess what? I already see where all their stuff is. I can either deploy out of range of unbinds of them if I think I'm going to be given first turn, or if they're taking first turn, I can set up more defensively to make it seem like their first turn isn't going to be worth it. And being these 11 drops, I will almost always see what my opponent is going to do, because the first 2 styles of list building at the beginning of 3rd edition, where we currently are just so popular, because everyone's like, oh yeah, of course I'm going to be like a 5-drop or a 4-drop even. I've seen people do the Hunters of the Heartlands Battalion and the Battle Regiment to be like, yeah, I'm going to be 4 drops, because you're trying to game out the 5-drop people while still getting some of that secret tech in for these battalions that people aren't taking enough of or taking as often. And then you run into something like this, and you're just like, oh, okay, you're just going to know everything I'm going to do by my 5th drop. I'm like, yeah. So I'm going to just like very slowly and deliberately make sure my first 5 drops don't show you what I'm doing, so I know your full game plan before you have even an idea of what the heck kind of craziness I'm trying to do here. And it's fun. At least for me. I don't know what they're doing, but for me, it's fun. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to class. Like, comment, subscribe, the whole bit here. We're going to have a word of the day, and that word of the day is pants. And why is it pants? Because your boy is doing a TTS Path to Glory over at the Pants Mafia YouTube. At the time of recording this, actually, the day before this comes out, I would have played at least one game with them. Maybe two will be up on their Discord. And not their Discord, their YouTube. It's up on my Discord even, and all the Discords I'm a part of. So please like, subscribe, watch the battle reports, enjoy the lessons and the crazy wonky list building. As I like to say at the end of all my videos, class dismissed.